It's summer vacation. With the case closed, there's not too much to do except for sit back, relax, and have fun. You pass the time idly by, sometimes hanging out with your friends, sometimes hanging out with your family. You help Nanako finish her summer homework and spend a lot of the days doing that most extreme of sports, fishing. Eventually though, the summer does come to an end. You finish it off with one final celebration though. All your friends come to your house to enjoy some watermelon. In all honesty, things couldn't get much better. Even your uncle, who's normally very tense, seems relaxed and happy even. But of course, the summer is over. So it's back to a regular high school life for you. It looks like that boy, Naoto, has decided to transfer to your school. He seems to be hesitant about something. It seems like he's not fully convinced that the case is closed. But what's there to discuss? The guy was caught. The police even found his prints on King Moron's clothes. Naoto's probably just upset that the cops don't need him anymore. We need to forget about the case and focus on more important matters. Callbacks. Yes, you end up on a trip to a rather familiar-looking city. Well there, you end up hanging out at a cigar-smelling club. The group decides to invite Naoto along, as he seems kind of lonely. Together, you get drunk on the atmosphere, literally, and force Chie into an uncomfortable position. However, it seems that Naoto has some ulterior motives for hanging out with us. He asks what truly was our involvement with the murder cases. Involvement? I mean, why would some school kids be involved with...
Well, we go rescuing people who've been kidnapped by jumping into the TV. And then we do stuff like Persona! With our personas and beat the crap out of shadows.
Thankfully, it's absurd enough that Naoto writes it off as a joke, and so you go back to enjoying the familiar sights. Afterwards, you head home, and once again the peaceful days return. During one of these nights, you spend a bit of time with Nanako.
Welcome home! Dad!
Sorry. Man.
It's fine. It's fine, okay?
Eventually, a few days later, you catch a local interview. It seems Naoto has been gaining quite the bit of popularity, as he's been appearing on multiple interview shows. Once again, it seems like he's not fully convinced that the cases are actually finished. Honestly, he never really struck me as the attention-seeking type. What are you gonna do? Funnily enough, the next day on your way to school, you happen to bump into Naoto. He doesn't appear to be headed in the same direction as you, though. He once again confronts you about the case, but this time, he does all the talking. He has a theory that the people who appear on TV and are made locally famous are the ones being targeted by the killer. However, the dates between the last victim, King Moron, and the second to last one, Saki Konishi, are so far apart. However, if you look in between, there were a string of disappearances that fit the same trend as the murder victims. People who appeared and were made famous on TV and then disappeared. But those people weren't murdered, were they? No, they're standing right here. Rise, Kanji, Yukiko. All of them fit the trend of appearing on TV then disappearing. It seems that Naoto thinks, somehow, in some way, you are helping the people who disappear. Your group is speechless to this, but he continues. He mentions that King Moron's death is the one exception to the rule, as he never appeared on TV. But he still believes in his theory, so he needs to test it himself. And with that he leaves. Your group are dumbfounded. It's tough to say what exactly he was talking about, but that next night, it's raining once again, and once again, the Midnight Channel appears. The image is hazy, but familiar. But I mean, that doesn't mean anything, right? I mean, what even is the Midnight Channel? How could a TV program predict people that were going to be thrown in the TV anyway? It probably doesn't actually have anything to do with the people, right?
From my heart and from my hand, why don't people understand my intention?
Naoto appears clear as day, and sure enough, he's been thrown inside the TV. Your group gather together to discuss what the heck is going on, and honestly things start to make a little more sense. Maybe Naoto was right, maybe something really was off with this whole case. He may very well have tested his theory by purposefully gaining popularity on the TV. Doing so, he would become a target for the killer, and he himself be thrown inside the TV. You also begin to realize how different King Moron's death was from the others. Oh, the police weren't able to find any evidence linking Mitsuo to Saki or that announcer. They only found him tied to King Moron. Perhaps, no, almost certainly, Mitsuo only killed King Moron, meaning the killer is still at large. Your group is once again on the hunt, and now it's time to save Naoto. You head to his dungeon, a futuristic sort of military shelter. The fog is thicker than ever, and the shadows more aggressive than ever before. But you'll struggle your way through, and eventually you make it to the end, where you find Naoto. He's talking with his shadow, but surprisingly seems pretty okay. And the shadow seems to be crying, and Naoto himself seems more annoyed than distressed. The shadow asks Naoto not to leave, to please stay. Naoto tries to brush it off, but the shadow's demeanor suddenly changes. The shadow claims that Naoto hates the way of the world. Grown-ups treat him like a child. When he's useful to them, they're all ears, but as soon as he's served that purpose, they discard him like he was nothing. Naoto isn't capable of accepting this dual-sided nature of society. So he pretends to be a great detective, emulates all the stories he's read up until this point. But at the end of the day, Naoto can't change who he is. He can't change the fact that he's just a child. And he can't change the fact that he is a she.
That's not true! Don't say it! Here it comes!
And so the shadow attacks. It's a, robo Naoto with a jetpack. Honestly, pretty tame compared to some of the symbolism that they've thrown in up till now. In any case, the fight is annoying, but generally pretty easy. You bring the shadow down without too much effort. Naoto too must accept the darker side of her heart, and she gains the power of Persona. And with that, you have your final party member, the knowledgeable sleuth, Naoto. You take her home so she can have some time to recover. While you wait for her to return to school, you have more time to kill. You stop a crazy girl from jumping off the roof of the school. You also help Nanako come to an important realization.
Huh?
My teacher said that families help each other. After Mom died, Dad and me have both been lonely, but I have Dad, and I need to do my best so Dad doesn't feel lonely either. You're my family too, so let's work hard together. I love you, big bro.
Am I crying? No, I'm not crying. You're crying. It's okay to cry. People cry. It's great, but I'm not crying. I'm not a crier. I don't cry. I work out.
In any case, it's not long before Naoto returns. For once, you finally get some useful information. Since Naoto was anticipating being kidnapped, she was kind of ready for it when it happened. While she wasn't able to stop it, she was able to retain some consciousness and take note of her surroundings. Apparently, someone came to her door, drugged her, then dragged her away and threw her inside a TV. Based on the circumstances, she's able to deduct that it was probably a male working alone. And based on how quickly it happened, she was able to determine that he probably has a TV readily available, meaning he probably has access to a larger vehicle. For such a thing to work, it would have to be a vehicle that the residents of a small town wouldn't find suspicious. It's honestly a lot more to go on than you've ever had before, but it's still not quite enough. For now, you just have to wait for another potential victim and another rainy night. In the passing time, you tutor a dorky-looking kid, and have a few conversations about what the heck Teddy actually is.
They did indeed. They found out that they can't tell anything about him. I even had them take an X-ray, but nothing came up on it. No matter how many times they tried, it would always be too blurry to read.
The days slowly drift by with little action until one night. Nanako gets home a little later than you, and she has a note that was left at the door for you. It doesn't have a return address, but it's clearly marked to you specifically. You open it, and it reads, "Don't rescue anymore." The next day, you and your friends look over the note. There's no way this is just a prank or a coincidence. This has to be a warning from the killer himself. What's more, this means that the killer has very personal information on who we are and how we've been acting. He even knew where you live and that you're the leader. Shit, stuff's starting to actually get pretty interesting right now. You better do something.
Presenting our transfer student who's been breaking hearts in the second year, Class 2!
No, I meant something useful.
Well, sad news, everyone, but Miss Naoto won't be coming out for this portion.
Okay, look, you know that's not what I meant. Something dangerous, something exciting.
Yuki-chan, I'm scared of the ghosts!
All right. I can do this too. Time to prove I'm a man. Chie-senpai, be gentle!
What's going on?
Sheesh.
Are you done? Look, there's a killer who clearly has his eyes on us. There's nothing more important right now than searching for him.
My head hurts.
Oh my god, I'm here with you, Nanako. There's nothing more important than this right now. But honestly, you really can't do a whole lot. The note doesn't really give you a lot to go on, aside from speculation. The days slowly pass by, and eventually, a rainy night arrives, and the Midnight Channel returns. This time, the image is far blurrier than it ever has been before. You can hardly even make out an outline, let alone any features. You talk to your friends about who it could be. Has there been anyone popular on the TV lately? Well, there has been this one politician who's been visiting local schools and playgrounds, But he didn't really stick around for long, and he's already left the town. Would he really be a target? It'll rain again that night, so you better check the Midnight Channel again. Hopefully this time it'll give you a better hint on who it is. When you get home, Dojima returns early from work as well. He has a unmarked letter in his hands. You read it, and this time it says, "If you don't stop, this time someone close to you will be put in and killed." The killer is once again written, but that's not the worst part, because Dojima now knows that you're involved with the case.
So, I was right. Be straight with me. You're involved in the case, aren't you? What are you up to?
It's tough to say what to do, but for now it's best that you just go along with your uncle. You comfort the scared Nanako before leaving with him to the police station. You try to explain to your uncle what's going on, you even tell him the truth, but he doesn't believe you. Who could believe a story like that? After a long series of questions, Dojima leaves, locking you in the room for the night. It's tough to say what's gonna happen, but hey, there's a TV in here. At least we can check the Midnight Channel to see who it is that's being thrown in. Once again, the image is blurry, but you can make out that it's definitely a child. You know, a young girl. She kinda looks like, no.
Wasn't that Nanako-chan on the Midnight Channel just now? How could it be her?
I know what you're thinking, but Nanako-chan does fit the pattern. She wasn't seen, but she was heard.
What?
Do you remember the politician who visited a local school and made the news several times? In those interviews, he always quoted a particular student he spoke with. The child became well known while remaining anonymous. That girl was Nanako-chan. A reporter who took interest in this released her photo and interview using her real name in today's evening paper. But even before that, this is a small rural town. Her identity must have been circulating for quite some time.
Oh my god.
I should have realized it much sooner. But I was hung up on the idea of people who were shown on TV. It didn't occur to me that this would qualify.
Well, what are we gonna do? Nanako-chan's home alone right now, isn't she?
I'm on my way there as we speak to check on her. Yosuke-senpai is heading to the police station. He said he called Kanji-kun too. They'll explain the situation there.
Alright, I'll join them right away, and I'll let Yukiko and Rise-chan know.
Yes, please do.
Eventually your friends do find you and manage to convince Dojima and Adachi to let you in. It's too late. Nanako's been kidnapped. Upon hearing the news, Dojima immediately rushes off, but Adachi can't let you leave. So you take this time to figure out what this means. Who is the killer? It would have to be someone with easy access to a large vehicle that could transport a large TV. This would also have to be a vehicle that no one would think twice about seeing in a suburban area in a small town. Finally, it would have to be someone that Nanako didn't find suspicious. Someone that Nanako would open the door for.
Senpai, do you have any insight into this possibility?
A delivery man. Adachi checks, and it seems that Dojima was indeed investigating a delivery man by the name of Namatame. It turns out it's the same man who was having an affair with the first murder victim, that announcer. Adachi, seeing the determination in your eyes, looks the other way as you leave to go and try and save Nanako. Dojima is badly hurt from the accident, and Nanako is nowhere to be seen. You're too late. She's been thrown inside the TV. It's tempting to just jump in right here and go after her, but it's too risky. You don't know what'll face you if you jump in right now. For now, you need to take Dojima to the hospital and make preparations to go and save her. While at the hospital, Dojima recognizes that he doesn't understand everything that's going on. He realizes that you may be the only ones who can save Nanako. He asks you to please save her. Her dungeon is beautiful. It's like a fairy tale picture of heaven. You don't have time to play around, though. You power through the dungeon, crushing any shadow that gets in your way. You're her big bro, and you will save her. When you reach the top, you find Namatame clutching onto Nanako like a hostage. He spouts some bullshit about saving the people that he throws inside the TV. The world on the outside is disgusting and evil, and this wonderful place will save them. Kanji and Yosuke tackle the guy to the ground while he's distracted, and Nanako is freed from his clutches. She falls unconscious into your arms, safe at last.
Back. I'm going to save her!
What's happening to him?
If we don't do something, this could be bad. His powers are attracting more and more shadows to him.
You guys got any suggestions?
Look at him! He's merging with the shadows! What is this?
The hell?
Damn it! We've come this far! We're not losing now!
Who gives a shit what this bastard is supposed to symbolize? Right now, all that matters is making him pay for what he did. There's no holding back this time. You give him everything you've got until he finally falls. But you have no time for celebration. Right now, Nanako is still unconscious, and you need to get her out of there as fast as you can. Naoto, Kanji, and Yosuke make sure to deal with Namatame while you're bringing Nanako out. Once out, you manage to get her to a hospital as quickly as possible. She's still out, but fortunately, her condition does appear to be stable. She has no physical wounds, so all you can do now is leave her in the hands of the doctors and hope she gets better. The days pass by slowly. Without Dojima or Nanako in the house, it feels so empty. As these days pass, more and more fog seems to cover the town every day. It's thick and unsettling. Rumors spread like wildfire about potential health risks that the fog may pose. But not all news is bleak. After some time, Adachi confronts your group. He claims that Namatame is being tried for all the crimes he committed, that the police won't rest until he's behind bars. But, more importantly, he claims that Nanako is beginning to recover.
Big bro. Yeah, I'm so glad.
I'm so sorry. I failed you. You trusted me. And I failed you.
Eventually, one day, you and your friends meet up to discuss the case. Despite what Adachi said, you're worried about the conviction of Namatame. The actual method for his murders are basically impossible to prove. What if he gets off scot-free? But at least it's not worth worrying about. Right now, all you can do is just hope that Nanako gets better. You all decide to go out and look for a new kotatsu so that she'll have something to look forward to when she gets out of the hospital. It's a fun little outing. Honestly, it feels like your group hasn't had this much fun for quite some time. You make jokes and have a, Oh, my phone.
Hello, this is Adachi. I want you to stay calm and listen to me, okay? Nanako-chan's condition suddenly got worse. The doctor wants you to come to the hospital immediately. We'll be waiting.
Doctor.
Big Bro. I'm scared.